This is my flip through book, and as you can see here, this is the first page. This is my grandfather, Hiram Don. It's a picture of him taken in 1944, 45. As you can see here, this is the first page. My grandfather was born in March 14th, 1925 in San Francisco's Chinatown. He was the second child of my great-grandparents, Ruth and Wing Don. He was also their first son. And this is the layout that I did for this. So, first page is basically my grandfather in 1926. And you can see here I took some old pictures. A tip on this is I never I never take the original ones. These are all copies, and that way I can just make them smaller or bigger, or however you want to do it. The second page is more pictures of my family, and as you can see here, usually on these two pages I usually do the same scrapbook paper so that you can keep it consistent, so it looks kind of like continuous. And usually what I do is I use parchment paper or parchment color paper and then print it on the printer, and just print out the little captions, so it just makes it look cleaner and nicer. And I just use black construction paper. Another tip, some people use a little peel stick self-adhesive labels on the back. I use glue. It's non-toxic, and it doesn't have that acid on it either. I use usually a Mod Podge, and I just stick a couple like a little fingertip on it and then dip it on both sides, and it sticks and it stays. Again, keeping with the consistency, I use the same kind of paper. Again, these are some old pictures. Anybody can use your own family pictures if you have some, or hopefully you have a lot. I also try to mix in pictures of new stuff. If you have some of the keepsakes or mementos of your family, you can usually use those also, and take modern pictures and just kind of put it in there. So as you can see there, my family grew up in San Francisco during the 1920s and 1930s. They lived on 833 Stockton Street, and this is where my great-grandma worked at a garment factory, and the family lived in an apartment behind the store. This is the pictures of them there. I have my grandma's, basically her birth certificate here, a copy of it at least, and basically this is my grandma. Her name is Sally Young. She was born on June 9th, 1929 in San Francisco. Her dad was James Young. He was born in Oregon, so that means that my family's been here a long time, and died in 1962. He was a barber who owned his own shop. My great-grandma, her name was Bessie. She was born in 1903 and died in 1989. And she was a housewife and a waitress. So these are some pictures of them. And like I said, I had an old copy of a birth certificate, so I just kind of put it on there. Again, everything is copies. Nothing is original. Okay. So this next page is, I kind of switched it up. So basically this is when my grandparents were dating back in the 40s. My grandma was a teenager back then, so I guess that's kind of frowned upon now. And as you can see here, the next page here is my grandparents' wedding, and they got married in 1944. He met my grandma in 1943 when she was working as a waitress at a restaurant in San Francisco. And with their parents' permission, they got married on October 10th, 1944. My grandfather was 19 and my grandma was 15. Believe that. So here's the wedding license, the marriage license, and a picture of my grandparents when they got married back in the 40s. Here is a wedding, basically a note saying, you know, congratulations on your wedding, you know, from my aunt for her brother. And right here's my mom's birth announcement. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my grandfather's wedding announcement in the paper. And then here's the letters to go with that. Again, these are all copies, and you can see the price of the stamps back then was 9 cents. My grandfather was also in the Army. He was a medic. Fortunately, he was stationed over here during World War II. He missed it towards the end because he was enlisted in 1944, maybe even 45. So he kind of missed it there. But he was stationed up in Oregon, and he was, like I said, a medic. He was honorably discharged in October of 1946. And here's some more information about my grandfather when he was in the Army. I wouldn't really say I guess he would be considered a vet, even though he wasn't serving in combat. This is my mom, and she was born on December 2nd, 1945, and there's some little news articles about her, and when my mom was a baby, you can see there. And I had some color footage, so I was able to freeze the frames on the color film and then just take pictures right there with my own camera to kind of like recreate and make it new again. The next one is my uncle. His name was Hiram. He's a junior, of course, and he was my uncle, who's my mom's brother, and they were probably about a year, 13 months apart. So here are more pictures of them. Here's the family picture. Kind of looks like wallpaper, but some color photos from the film that I had, as well as a color picture, or the family portrait. More news about my grandfather. He was some stuff that was in the paper. They keep all the little cutouts, and he was also, after the military, he worked with my grandfather and uncles to have their own store in Salinas, California, that Wings Market. It was like a grocery store slash butcher shop. Some more family functions that I made copies of again. This is in front of the store, family function in Big Sur, and some other little photos and all that too. You can spread it out and all that as well if you want. I try to make it look rustic because it's the time period that I'm trying to get. Here's some other family footage films that I saved and all that too, and you just stop the film strip, or I converted it all to DVD. So, you know, just stop the DVD and then just take pictures, and you can see that now they're all in color. And all these videos were made in the 1940s, so this is like late 40s, mid to late 40s that these videos were taken. My grandfather died in 1950. He died prematurely. He died on October 16, 1915 from a motorcycle accident. So basically I have this death record right here, the mortuary and everything else like that, and these are the pictures of the funeral and all that too as well. The next page is my parents, my mom and my uncle growing up, you know, in daily life in Salinas Valley as well. My uncle Hiram, my mom's brother, was in Vietnam. He was drafted in 1966. He was only 19. He was assigned to the Red Ball Express, and he served in Vietnam from 1967 to 1968. And he was discharged from the war in May of 1968 with the rank of Sergeant E5. Here is my parents' wedding. So I have a few pictures. Sometimes the less is better. That's what my wife says, right? And she says that basically, you know, you don't have to be really busy on it. Certain pages I didn't make it busy. And this is my parents' restaurant back in 1971, I believe. It was up in Campbell, California, where the Silicon Valley is now. And this is the restaurant that they owned. It's called Wings Chinese Food, and they had it until like 74. And again, it used to be a converted Arby's, and then they converted it to a Chinese fast food. And to think that nowadays, you know, fast food has taken off, you know, to think that my parents could have like maybe cashed in on it, but like I said, a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of money. And these are pictures of my family as we were growing up and everything else like that. And as you can see here, you know, you can see the different, I've been starting to change the format because we're getting into the more recent decades, and I've been doing this by decade. Over here I have like the 80s and all that too, so here's more of my family. And this is also the 90s. I need to start putting little labels on it, but yeah, these are the 90s as it progresses. And then we move on to the current. This is the early 2000s, if you can see here. That's the early 2000s. This is the 2010s. And this is how I would have done my the family scrapbook. And then I just keep mementos of my grandma, who's still alive. She's 91 now. And anything, you know, pertaining to her, since she is my last grandma here. And you know, keep cards or letters that she gives, pictures. And then I just on the next page I just kind of put pictures of my mom with my uncle, you know, stuff like that over the years. And then on the last page I did basically the offspring of my uncle, who are those, and then us right here as well. So these are the pictures of my family on our side of the family. So keep going. And that is it. So that is my flip through for my Dawn family scrapbook. And yes, I believe Min can scrapbook too. I've been scrapbooking for 30 years. I've made over 20 scrapbooks over the years, and I've done probably close to about 1,000 pages. So I'm the one that does all the scrapbooking. My wife basically takes the pictures, and I'm the one that puts it together. So to answer your question, yes, Min do scrapbook.